The Arctic, once a distant frontier, untouched, unseen, is now the stage for a quiet but decisive confrontation. A contest where silence conceals strategy, and every move beneath the ice carries global consequence. In this second chapter, we travel deeper into the frozen north, where old alliances are being tested and new ambitions are quietly taking shape. From Britain's renewed interest in the GIUK Gap to NATO's expanding patrols across icy waters, and China's growing reach through the so-called Polar Silk Road, the race for dominance is no longer just about geography. It's about surveillance, access, and control. The Cold War never truly ended here. It simply changed form. Satellites replaced submarines, algorithms replaced spies, and yet the goal remains the same: to command the top of the world. As the ice melts and the Arctic opens wider each year, the question isn't who will explore it, but who will own it. This is where the new global chessboard begins. The Arctic, a place where nations whisper in the cold and power moves beneath the ice. Stay with us. This is USMag. The United Kingdom, a nation not formally counted among the Arctic's great powers, is slowly but steadily expanding its presence in the world's coldest frontier. This growing involvement isn't random. It's strategic, a response to Russia's deepening footprint in the region. At the center of Britain's renewed focus lies a place few have heard of, yet it's one of the most critical passages on Earth: the GIUK Gap, a narrow but vital stretch of ocean linking Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. For Russia's northern fleet, it's the only direct route from the Arctic to the Atlantic, a natural choke point and a perfect place to watch, to intercept, and to control. This isn't new. During the dark days of World War II, the United States built bases in Greenland to track and fight Nazi submarines that threatened Allied ships. And even after the Cold War ended, this passage never lost its importance. Today, NATO monitors the same waters, using advanced underwater sensors designed to detect any hidden submarine movement beneath the freezing waves. In May, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy traveled north to the Arctic, announcing a new partnership with Iceland. The plan? To use artificial intelligence to track suspicious activities at sea. In simpler words, to keep a digital eye on Russian submarines and warships moving through the icy depths. But despite London's ambition to play a bigger role here, the truth is, Britain faces serious challenges. A recent parliamentary report warned that the country lacks key assets: submarines, maritime surveillance aircraft, and early warning radar systems, all of which are essential for maintaining a strong Arctic defense. The UK's latest strategic defense review promises to expand its submarine fleet, but experts argue that more decisive action is needed, and soon. Former senior defense advisor Peter Watkins explained it clearly. The Arctic has become a region where the security priorities of the United States, Canada, and Europe are now aligning. And as a leading Euro-Atlantic nation, he said, Britain must devote more focus and more resources to the Arctic. Yet, not everyone sees Britain's involvement as purely defensive. Headlines from Lammy's Arctic visit, with lines like Britain's plan to stop Russia from taking control of the Arctic, have raised tensions in Moscow. Russia, after all, has been strengthening its own presence in the far north, and it's determined to prevent other powers from doing the same. A Danish intelligence assessment recently warned that Moscow will likely act to defend its position, possibly even responding aggressively to Western military maneuvers in the Arctic. The report went further, cautioning that Russia now appears ready to take greater risks, embracing a posture that's more aggressive and increasingly confrontational. As the ice melts and the world's northern frontier opens up once more, Britain's re-entry into Arctic affairs is more than symbolic. It's a reminder that in this frozen arena of power, even the smallest shift in strategy can send ripples across the entire world. The Polar Silk Road, a new Cold War beneath the melting ice. As the world warms, a new frontier of competition begins to emerge, far to the north, where the ice once stood eternal. This is the story of the Polar Silk Road and the quiet power struggle taking shape beneath the melting Arctic. According to the United Kingdom's Strategic Defense Review, the upper reaches of the Arctic are losing more and more of their summer ice every year. And if current trends continue, By 2040, the Arctic Ocean could be entirely ice-free during summer months. But some scientists believe that timeline is too conservative. They warn, the ice is vanishing even faster than we think. For Russia, this transformation is both an opportunity and a threat. Nearly 10% of the Russian economy depends on Arctic resources, oil, gas, and minerals hidden for centuries beneath the frozen surface. As the ice retreats, these riches are finally within reach. But so too are new risks, because every kilometer of thawing coastline is another kilometer Moscow must now defend. That means more patrols, more bases, more weapons. The Arctic is heating up, in more ways than one. And into this unfolding drama steps an unexpected player, China, a nation thousands of miles away with no Arctic coastline, no territorial claim, yet Beijing now calls itself a near-Arctic state. It may sound unusual, but China's intentions are crystal clear. As the ice melts, new sea routes are opening, pathways once blocked by nature, now promising faster trade and cheaper shipping between Asia and Europe. For Beijing, this is the dream of a polar Silk Road, a northern trade corridor that could outmatch even the Suez Canal. Shorter, safer, strategically priceless. That's why China is steadily expanding its reach, investing in Arctic science, environmental diplomacy, and commercial partnerships across the region. But in Washington, alarm bells are ringing. Because what began as a story about melting ice is now part of something much larger, the global rivalry between the United States and China. A rivalry that has now reached the top of the world. According to Arctic policy analyst Dr. Elizabeth Buchanan, Beijing has adopted a multi-layered approach, strengthening its Arctic engagement through higher education, research missions, environmental cooperation, fishing treaties, and strategic partnerships. Each of these efforts, she explains, helps normalize China's presence in the Arctic, turning it from an outsider into a preferred partner for nations across the polar north. Meanwhile, China continues to expand its fleet of icebreakers, massive ships designed to crush through frozen seas. And recently, Beijing joined hands with Moscow, conducting a joint naval patrol in the Bering Sea, just off the coast of Alaska. But even Russia is growing uneasy. Despite their cooperation, Moscow still views the Arctic as part of its own historic sphere of influence. To Russia, this frozen expanse is sacred ground, and any foreign power seeking a foothold here is watched with suspicion. Recently, leaked documents from Russian intelligence agencies revealed deepening mistrust. Officials reportedly fear that Chinese operatives may be using mining projects and academic research as cover for espionage in the Arctic. So beneath the ice and beneath the diplomacy, a quiet tension lingers. The Polar Silk Road, a vision of trade and connection, is fast becoming a symbol of rivalry and mistrust. In the world's coldest waters, a new kind of Cold War may already be taking shape. And the lines between cooperation and competition are melting, just like the ice itself. This isn't just about climate change, it's about the future balance of power at the top of the world. The Arctic, a place often imagined as silent, isolated, untouched, but beneath this frozen stillness, another world moves quietly, a world of secrets and surveillance. For decades, this icy frontier has been more than just a geographical mystery. It's been a listening post, a strategic theater where nations have gathered intelligence and watched one another from the shadows. Once, the focus here was signals intelligence, intercepting communications, monitoring radio waves, listening to the whispers of rival powers that drifted through the polar air. But today, espionage in the Arctic is evolving, and it's growing more complex and more dangerous. In Norway, a man posing as a Brazilian academic was arrested. He claimed to be studying Arctic geopolitics. Authorities later revealed he was believed to be a Russian spy. His research was just a cover. Around the same time, strange drones began appearing over Arctic skies, their origin unknown, their intent uncertain. But many suspected they were part of Moscow's expanding intelligence operations. Analysts fear Russia may be doing more than just watching. There are growing concerns that its agents could be influencing the politics of remote Arctic communities, fueling division and quietly reshaping loyalties from within. Yet, Russia isn't the only one under the microscope. In recent months, reports have emerged that the United States, too, has intensified its intelligence presence in Greenland, an autonomous territory under Danish control. Washington, it seems, wants to know whether Moscow or Beijing are trying to extend their reach across this strategic island. But those revelations didn't sit well in Copenhagen. Denmark summoned an American diplomat demanding an explanation, and in a rare rebuke to an ally, the Danish Prime Minister declared, "Spying on a friend is unacceptable." The controversy reignited an old dilemma for Europe. With tensions rising between Russia and the West and reliance on the US stronger than ever, where should European nations draw the line? Niklas Granholm of Sweden's Defense Research Agency summarized it clearly. China, Russia, and the United States are now colliding in the Arctic. The competition is intensifying, and the rest of the world must adapt. Some countries are responding by tightening alliances, increasing military coordination. Others worry that doing so will only deepen the divide and turn the Arctic into yet another front of confrontation. For years, nations upheld a hopeful motto: high north, low tension. A promise that this region, unlike so many others, would remain a zone of peace and cooperation. But the ice is melting, resources are opening up, and global rivals are circling ever closer. No one wants the Arctic to become militarized, yet, step by step, that's exactly what's happening. The High North, once a symbol of balance and restraint, is slowly becoming the next frontier in the world's silent war. A war fought not with noise, but with whispers beneath the ice. Thank you for staying with us. Your voice, your thoughts, they help keep stories like this alive. So share it, leave your thoughts below. And if this story stayed with you, subscribe and be here when the next one begins.